Good evening. My name is Rudi. Tonight we're going to do a basic 2 session, and I'm going to show you how to go and do some filtering, do some charting, how to use the investment calculator, how to buy some shares, how to sell them, how to add shares onto a watch list, and then afterwards, if there's any questions or anything, you're more than welcome to ask them. So let's start off with the webinar. So on your left-hand side panel, you'll see you've got your analysis tab. So when we click on the analysis, it's going to give you a drop-down, and we're going to go to the stocks page. Underneath the stocks page, it will give you 3 different drop downs. So the first one is obviously my stocks and watch list. So any shares that you've bought or would be on your left hand side on the stocks, or if you've added any shares onto the watch list, it will appear on your right hand side on your watch list tab. Then below that you get your share filter. Now the share filter is the more advanced way of doing your filtering, and then the additional advisor, the one we're going to use tonight, is a little bit easier to use to go and see which stocks are currently available to go and buy, or to go and add on to a watch list. So what we're going to do is we're just going to click on the additional advisors, and then it will give you a few different advisors to go with. Now these advisors are obviously advisors that come directly from the charts. So firstly you get your MACD, moving average conversion diversion, then you get your RSI, which is the relative strength index, your time series forecast, long term, medium term, and short term, and then your simple moving average which would normally be a 50-day moving average. You can go and set that value underneath your preferences at the top, 200 if you want to use a 200-day moving average, but we're going to keep it the default of 50. And then you get your stochastic oscillator, which is also one of the advisors that come from the chart. Now, ones that we usually use on the advisor, and this will also be the more or less the same way that your SMS notifications get sent through to you, your stock picks. So firstly, we're going to go and add long. All right, so it's going to add all the long-term shares onto your list, and also include some short-term and medium-term shares. So for instance, you'll get shares like Pan Africa, which is a really cheap share, or in NP1, which is also a really cheap share. So you'll get some short-term shares in between as well. And then next, we're going to go and add the RSI, which is the relative strength index. And so those two are usually the two that the SMS works on. All right, so long-term and RSI. But what I usually do is I can go and add stochastic as well. All right, so the stochastic would sorry about that, I forgot to share the screen. All right, there we go. All right, sorry. I'll start from the beginning. Sorry about that. So, as I said, we're going to go to the analysis on your left-hand side. Then you're going to go down to stocks, and you're going to click on the stocks button. All right. So right at the top, as I said, you get your my stocks and watch list. So you get your stocks on the left and your watch list on the right. So on your right-hand side, any shares that you add on to your watch list to go and have a look at, it will appear there, or stocks that you bought will be appearing on your left hand side. Then the share filter, once again, this is the more advanced way of going and looking for shares, because these basically the share filter works on moving averages. For instance, a 20-day moving average, 10-day moving average, and a 20-day moving average, but we'll get to that later. But we're going to use, as I said, we're going to use the additional advisor. So once again, MACD is your moving average conversion diversion. RSI is your relative strength index. The TSF is your time series forecast. Then you get long, medium, and short, which is long term, medium term, and short term. And then your simple moving average, which you can go and set the value underneath your preferences. So when you click on preferences, you can change the simple moving average period to 200. The default is currently set to 50, or to 40, sorry. So the moving average is currently sitting on 40. So you can set it to a 200-day moving average if you want to, or a 50-day moving average. So then next to that, you get your stochastic oscillator. which is also an advisor that comes from the charts. All right. So firstly, we're going to go and add a long, which would include your long-term, medium-term, and short-term. So you won't only get long-term shares, you'll get some medium and short-term opportunities as well. And then we're going to go and add our RSI, Relative Strength Index. Now those two, as I said, those two are the two that basically come directly from your SMS notifications. So your SMS notifications will basically work only on a long and RSI, which is your stock picks basically, and then also with a volume of greater than 100,000. So that's the way we're going to filter out some shares tonight. But what I usually like to do is I like to add a stochastic as well, because that gives me shares that are really at a low point that's got a really good chance of turning around again, because it's already at a low. Okay, so first column you'll see the code. So every company comes with its own 3-digit code. So for instance, Kafka Limited is CAC, and then LUX is Lux Holdings Limited. NY1 is 91 Limited. So each one has got its own code next to it. So if you don't know the code, you can just look up the name. And then the closing price, so that's the current day's closing price with the traded volume. All right, and volume is basically the amount of shares that's been traded during a trading day. All right, if you want to see the amount of deals that's been done for the share for the day, you just click on the share, any place in the share, and then you click on details on your left hand side, and it'll show you the amount of deals that's been done with that amount of volume. All right, so that's the amount of people that basically bought and sold for the day with that amount of volume. All right, so firstly we're going to go and filter out the volume. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that to greater than 100,000. Right, reason for the 100,000 is because of it's because of the amount of feet that's there, right? The amount of trading that's happening. So the higher that volume is, the more likely you'll be able to buy the shares, and the more likely you'll be able to sell the shares, right? So for instance, if you take Pick and Pay and a ShopRite next to each other, and you look at which one is trading the most, obviously what's going to happen is you're going to go for the one with the most people. All right, so that's why we're looking at the volume. All right, so greater than 100,000. Then we got a long RSI and stochastic, which we're going to filter out next. So we change all three of them to buy indications. So firstly, we're looking at the long on a buy indication, so that the share is in a continuous bullish trend. All right, so you don't get a share that's in a continuous bearish trend. And then the RSI, we're going to change to buy. All right, so we'll go to the charts to show you exactly why we're looking at the buy on the RSI. All right, and same with the stochastic, we're going to change that to a buying indication as well. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to give you a short list of shares, and this list is the list that you would get on your stock picks basically. All right, so it'll give you a short list. Obviously not with the stochastic, so your list might have been a bit longer because it only works in the long and the RSI, but I like to put in the stochastic as well, just to make that list a little bit smaller to get better opportunities to go and buy. All right. So we've currently got Rubik's Group, Kumba Iron Ore, Naspers 91 PLC, Quilter, and Pan Africa Resources Limited. Okay, so what we're going to go and do is we're going to go and click on 91 PLC. So let's select this one. And then it's going to open the security details for us. And then we can go and click on the chart IQ. But obviously from here, we can go and buy some shares. We can go directly to the chart. We can go to charting tools, which is the default charts for the software itself. And then you get the add to watch list. So if we didn't want to buy the share, we're only going to analyze it. You can just go and add it onto a watch list to go and buy it at a later stage. Okay, so we're going to go to Charts IQ, click on Charts IQ, and it's going to open up Charts IQ for us. So this is the chart for N91. So currently we can see that the share is in a bit of a sideways trend. It did go down a bit now recently, but there's one thing on the chart that I'll show you now that indicates that this share might turn around really soon. All right. Now at the bottom you'll see I've got the RSI and the stochastic, but I'm quickly going to remove them, so I can just show you how to go and add them. So on your right hand side at the top you get your studies. So you're going to go to studies, and you're going to click on RSI. So RSI, relative strength index, is the first one that we're going to use. So we're going to change the period from 14 to 3. And the reason we do it on a 3-day RSI, 3-period RSI, is because if you look at what the RSI looks like here, and if you look at a default RSI, you'll see that it's a bit difficult to read the 14-day RSI, and you get your buying indications much quicker on a 3-day RSI than on a 14-day. All right, so the next one we're going to go and add is the stochastic. So once again, we're going to go to studies, stochastic, and we're going to go and create the stochastic. Now, these two basically work really well together. So I'm just going to enlarge them so that it's easier to see them quick. So how they work is, I'm just going to take a vertical line. So how they work is basically the moment that you'll see that basically the RSI and the stochastic, both of them have a 20 and an 80 line. All right. So it's a 20% line on both of them and an 80% line on both of them. All right. So anything below the 20s, those are your oversold areas. Okay. So that's where you want to go and buy your shares. Above the 80, that's where the share is overbought. Okay. So you don't want to buy the share when it's overbought. All right, you want to buy it when it's oversold, when the share price is much cheaper. Okay, so you'll see on the RSI you only get a black line, but on the stochastic you get a black and a red line. Now they work a little bit in different manners. So on the RSI, how the buying indications would work is the moment when your black line crosses through your 20 line, like right over there, that would be your buying indication. And over here, we've got another one that also counts as an buying indication. All right. And then below that, the stochastic, this time it's about where the red and the black line meet. So the red line is your signal line. So the moment your signal line crosses through your black line, that would be your buying indication. So that would have been our buying indication over there where the two lines crossed. Same over here. That's where the two lines crossed. So currently we've got no cross through, but there's one thing on the RSI that I'll show you now that basically tells you that this share is running out of steam in a bearish trend. So I'm just gonna make these two a bit smaller again. All right, so as I said, we can see that the share is currently going in a sideways trend. It did go down a little bit, but we've got basically a buying indication. We had a buying indication right here, and we had another one here, and you can say that that one was also a buying indication. But there's a reason that I said that this share might be running out of steam in the sideways or downwards trend that it's currently got. Now, yes, we can see that there was a buying indication here. That was a buying indication over here. That one is turning around, but we've got nothing on the RSI, on the stochastic yet. All right, it still needs to turn around. But there's one thing on the RSI that indicates that the share might be turning around really soon. All right, and that we call a convergence or a divergence. So currently this share is in a converging trend, so it's converting in an upward trend. So we can see that the price is currently going down. All right, so the price is falling. All right, but if you look at your RSI is actually converting. So it means that the share is actually running out of steam in this downwards or sideways trend. Is because of your RSI turning into a bullish trend. So it means that the share is going to start turning around very soon. Okay, so then your stochastic would also give you the crossover. All right, as it did over here. All right, although your stochastic is in a divergence trend over there, right, it shows you that it's down. Your relative strength index is a little bit stronger than what your stochastic would be. Okay, so this share, I would say you can either go and add onto a watch list, or you can go and buy the share directly. All right, and see if it's going to make that turnaround. All right, in my personal experience, I'd much rather go and add the share onto a watch list. Just keep it on my watch list for a day or 2 or 3, just to see, is it going to turn around or is it going to continue in this bearish trend that it's got here. Okay, so to add it onto our watch list, what we're going to go and do is we're going to go back to the software at the top, and we're going to go and say add to watch list. All right, So then it's going to ask us to add a comment as well. So please supply a comment. It is optional. You don't really need to, but you can go and add a little note there for yourself. For instance, keep an eye on it for 3 days, or keep an eye on it for 5 days until the buying point. Okay, so I'm not going to add a comment right now. I'm just going to go and submit, and it will go and add it onto my watch list. All right, so if it doesn't show up onto your watch list immediately, you can just refresh the page. So it's just going to refresh that page for you, then that share would be on your watch list. So if I go back to my stocks and watch list now, then my N91 share will be on my watch list. All right. If you want to go back to that share, you don't really need to go back to the advisor and filter again. You can go to that share and click on the info button on the right hand side. If you want to remove a share, obviously from the watch list, you just click on the little dustbin and it will remove a share for you. Okay, but what we want to go and do now is we want to go and buy this share. So we're going to go and click on that info button over there. All right, so then it's going to bring up the security details once again for you. Or what you can do is, if you don't want to go back to your watch list, you can always go to the search function at the top, click on search over there, and then you type in your code, and it will bring up that same share for you. And you can just click on it, and it will bring up that same share. All right, so there's the two different ways of pulling up that share that you wanted to buy. Okay, so we're going to go back to our stocks, my stocks and watch lists, and we're going to go and click on info. Sorry, it's just taking some time to load up. And then we can go and click on buy shares. All right, so the moment we click on buy shares, it will bring up the security details for the buying option. All right, so you'll see that you've got your simulation account. If you've got any extra accounts, you must go and select that account that which you want to buy the share on. All right, so we've only got currently got the simulation, so we're going to click on simulation, and then we've got the company name 91 PLC with the date we're buying it on, the number of shares to trade, so we must apply an amount that we want to trade, and then if you've got the share code N91, the last trade price, which is 46.10, and then the max you can afford to buy, and then obviously the comment that you need to add when you're buying a share. All right, so if you've got any other accounts, then you don't really need to go and add the comment. But if you're buying on the simulation, then you need to go and add the comment. Or don't forget about your comment. That needs to be either fundamental or technical. All right, so it needs to be either two technical comments or two fundamental reasons why you're buying the share, or it can be one technical and one fundamental. Okay, so your technical comments will come directly from the charts. What did you see on the chart? What's currently happening on the RSI or on the stochastic? What's happening to the price? Or fundamental, you can find from your research. So you click on research, you can go to the directors dealing, see is there any directors that's currently buying. We can see, yes, there's a lot of directors that's currently buying on N91. Is there even any dividends? There's no dividends to go on. You can go and read the financial statements. So there's really no financial statements for them as of yet, because the company is really new. Okay, so this company only started trading this year. All right, and then you can also go to the market news and read up a bit more on the company, and that's where you find, this is where you'll find all your fundamental reasons for buying the share. Okay, so we can already see that we've got some reason here because all the directors are currently starting to buy the share. So something is going to happen, all right? And that might be because of the upside with your RSI, all right? It's converging, right? So people might be interested in buying the share right now because of this convergence on the RSI, all right? So that would also be a really good reason for buying the share. Okay. So over here, you need to go and supply your amount of shares that you want to buy, seeing to it that your break-even point over there is below 4%. The reason for that is because every share that you buy, you're going to pay a brokerage fee. Okay, so let's quickly go and work that out before we go and do the buy. So underneath your calculators, So when you click on calculators, you'll see you've got your investment calculator over there. All right. So the investment calculator will show you exactly what the brokerages are that you're gonna pay. All right, before buying the share. So we're gonna go and enter the share code again in 91. Select the share from the drop down. It will autofill the share code and the price. You just need to supply the quantity. Now, if we take 2 shares, for instance, all right, we'll see that our break-even point percentage is 248%, right? So we need to grow by 248% before we start making profit. All right. The reason for the 248 is because if you take your buying brokerage, which is 113 Rand and 75 cents, and your selling brokerage 113 Rand and 52 cents, you put the two together, it's actually more than what your total cost is. All right. So you need to grow more than double to be able to start generating profits. If I put in more shares, then you'll see it drops. All right, so now it's 24%. So now I only need to grow by 24% before I start making profits. So now it's my 115 Rand plus 113 Rand is 24% of my total cost. All right, so I only have to grow, the share price needs to grow to 57 Rand before I start making profits. But if I take out that zero, then you'll see it needs to grow to 159 Rand before I start making profits. So you need to make sure that your break-even point is as low as possible. Now, what we usually go on is a break-even point percentage below 4%. So you'll see the moment I put in 2, my break-even point is still in red. Now we want that to be in green. All right, so if I buy a bit more shares, then let's say 40, so it's on 12%. Let's go to 120, so almost there. We'll take 130. We need about 5 more shares. There we go. Now it's green. So the moment I did that, so if we go 130, you'll see the break-even point percentage is in red. So if I go 5 more shares, it's in green. All right, so that's below 4%. Right, the reason we want it as low as possible is so that we can start gaining profits as fast as possible, so that we don't take forever to start making profits. So now you'll see that our price currently is sitting at 46.10, but our break-even price is 47.90. So I only have to grow by 1 Rand 80 before I start making profits. Okay, so that is going to be 3.9% that we need to grow, and then anything past that would be profit. Okay, so if there's anything unclear on the investment calculator, you're more than welcome to ask. Then I can re-explain it to you, or I can even send you a mail, explain to you what exactly are all the costs behind your brokerage. All right. Because, for instance, like your normal brokerage and your selling brokerage, both of them would have a 90 Rand set fee. Okay, with your straight, your STT and your IPL and your straight. All right, so those are extra taxes that come with that. All right, it's the same. You go into Pick and Pay, for instance, you're getting your slip for your milk and bread that you bought. Right at the bottom, there's a VAT percentage, right, with a tax percentage. Now that's exactly the same with the trading shares. You'll get that extra little bit that you're going to pay. All right, with the normal brokerage of 90 Rand. All right, so obviously this is based on Standard Bank's fees. Okay, so let's go back to the search. We want to go and buy that share in 91. Buy shares, and we can put in our amount of shares that we want to buy, 135. Okay, then we need to supply the comment why we're buying the share. So one reason we did see is the RSI converging and directors are buying shares. All right, which can basically say that the share is going to start going up because of, firstly, the RSI is converging, so that's pulling a lot of attention towards the directors, and directors, so the directors are buying. So that's one technical reason and one fundamental reason. Then we can go and click on confirm buy, and at the bottom it will say buy order confirmed. So now the moment I go to my dashboard, click on investment dashboard, you will see that our share is purchased. Okay, so the moment you buy the share, you'll see that immediately you will be in a minus. All right, so overall movement percentage is going to be minus 3.78%. So that's basically our brokerages that we've paid. All right, so minus 244. So that's going to be your selling and buying brokerage together. Okay, so then unit cost you'll see is a bit higher than what the current price is. Okay, so the reason for that is because it's your overall movement percentage. The moment you buy, that percentage together with your current price, it will give you your unit costs. All right, so there is a brokerage on top of your unit costs. So don't stress the moment you buy this share and you say, okay, but my unit cost is now higher than what the price is. All right, if you want to see what the actual price is that you bought in the beginning, you can go to accounts and then financials. Right, and you can go and read it, read the price there. Okay. So now we need to go and set up a SMS notification for this share so that we know exactly when is our stop loss reached, when our target value is reached, or even our gross stop loss. So we're going to go to action. So we click on action, and then we're going to go and click on set stop loss. All right, so you'll see that the default would be 10.53. Now a target value of 10% is fine. But your stop loss, especially on equities, I mean, you don't really need to go with a small stop loss. You can go a bit higher, anything between 8 and 10%. If you're trading CFDs, then I would say anything between 3 and 5%, all right, or 8% even. All right, so the highest I'll go in the CFD is 8%, but on equities you can go about 8 to 10%. So let's go with 8% on this one. So the moment it reaches your 8% stop loss, it will send you an SMS to notify you that you need to go and basically sell out the shares. So it will tell you that your stop loss on N91 has been reached. Then you need to go and sell it immediately, or you can go do some analysis and see if the share is going to turn around, but it would be recommended to rather go and sell the share on your stop loss. All right, because sometimes what can happen, you can say yes, but the share looks like it's going to go up, and then a month down the line it fell by even further than the 8%, and let's say it went down to 31%. Right, and then you start losing money. All right, we don't want that to happen, so you're going to change that stop loss to 8 and leave it at 8 or 10 and sell it on 8 or 10%. Then your gross stop loss would basically be half of what your stop loss is, so that it's basically like an early warning system before it even reaches your stop loss. So you'll receive an early warning basically telling you that, listen, the share has fallen by 4%. You can go and analyze it, and you can go and sell it off even before it reaches your stop loss. You don't really need to go and sell it there, but it would be advisable just to go and analyze it and see, is it still going to go up? All right, if not, rather sell it. If it looks like, yes, okay, it's going back up, then keep it, all right, until it reaches your target value. If it reaches your target value and you get the SMS for your target value, don't sell it out immediately. See if there isn't any more potential for that share to grow even further. Okay. So we're going to enter our cell phone number over there. So you just enter your cell phone number, and then you click on activate. So then it will activate that SMS for you. And then you turn on your intraday SMS. Now, obviously, there would be two other SMSs that you also receive. So it's not only the target value, the stop loss, and the gross stop loss percentage that you'll get. It would be two other SMSs telling you that's increased or decreased by X amount for the day. So you don't really need to go and do anything about the SMS. It's just to notify you what's currently happening with your shares, so that you don't need to go and log into the software every now and then just to go and check on your shares. Or the SMS is checking on the shares for you. So 3 times a day you will be notified on what's currently happening to that share. If there is obviously no change, then there would be no SMS. If there is change, then you will receive that SMS. Okay, and then we can click on update values, and it will set that SMS. So we'll say on your left hand side, updated client preferences and SMS notification created. All right, so the moment you set up the SMS, then you would start receiving those notifications. All right, if we want to go and sell the share, then we need to go and deactivate that SMS. All right, so same thing, you can go back to action, click on set stop loss, and then deactivate the SMS and turn off intraday, and then update the values once more so that it deactivates the SMS. All right, so before you do the sell, deactivate it first. All right, if you sell it obviously and you didn't deactivate, then the system will deactivate it for you, but just to be safe, go and deactivate that SMS. So next we're going to go to action. We want to go and sell that share. Right, let's say we grew with a great percentage, or we reached our stop loss, then we can go and say sell. All right, then it will say number of shares to sell. So you need to enter the amount of shares that you have basically bought. All right, so quantity of 135, that's the amount we bought, so we enter 135. All right, and then we need to go and obviously supply the comment, why are we selling the share? Okay, so we'll also tell you your profits or your loss at the bottom. So your profit equals the investment value minus the cost of investment minus the brokerage. All right, so we are going to be at a loss currently because we didn't really make any profit on it. All right, we just bought the share. So then you need to go and enter your comment why you're selling it. So it might be stop loss reached, or it might be a target values reach, or you're happy with your percentage growth. So it doesn't really need to be a big comment. So it only needs to be one reason why you're buying the share, not or selling the share, right? It doesn't need to be two. So it doesn't need to be one big comment like the buying one. All right. So the moment you do that, so let's for instance say our stop loss was reached. All right, then we go and click on sell again, and we'll sell out that share. So this block won't go away immediately. It will remove the share behind it. Just click on close window or click on the cross. All right, don't click on sell again, because then it basically is going to try and sell into a minus. All right, then you will have minus 135. So we don't want that that happening. So we just click on X. All right, to exit. Okay, so that's the basics of buying and selling shares. That's the easiest way to go and analyze your shares, is by using your RSI and your stochastic, looking at is there conversions both on your RSI and your stochastic, and looking at something like the director's dealings to assist us in making that final decision to buy the share. All right, but obviously we could see that there is a conversions on here, and the directors did start buying, so it means that this share is actually running out of steam in this downward trend. So it depends from share to share. What's going to happen? Is it going to still go up? Is it going to go down? But you need to learn how to read the charts to be able to make that final decision. Okay, because the charts is basically your key to making a success. All right, and also by trying to buy more shares that's on the winning shares list, and not only shares that and not other shares. All right, we would say basically like the top 40 shares or shares that listed on our winning shares list. Okay, so if you've got any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them now, and then I will answer them for you. Okay. So if you don't have any questions right now, you're more than welcome to send me a SMS, or send me a WhatsApp on the 082 number or the 083 number, or send us an email to support@sharetrackin.com, or you can go to contact us, and you'll see that you get the office number there as well, or you can just go to need support and send us a query directly from there. All right, but if there's no questions for now, that would be the end of the webinar for now. And then next week we're going to do another webinar, but it will be in Afrikaans. Okay, so enjoy your evening, and then we'll speak next week again.